WWE has shockingly announced that The Rock will be appearing on tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown on USA Network. Has the final boss given a hint at possible WrestleMania 41 plans? We've got the ratings for Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. The former Elias has signed with TNA Wrestling. WWE NXT champion Obafemi appears on last night's live episode of TNA Impact. Fellow NXT superstar Cora Jade also appears on the show. She'll be challenging for the Knockouts World Championship at the upcoming Sacrifice event. Nick Nemeth is set to return from his suspension at the TNA Sacrifice show. NXT superstar Wesley will also be in action at the upcoming Sacrifice event. AJ Francis trolls the crowd with a tease of AJ Styles appearing last night on TNA Impact Live. Several matches and segments have been confirmed for next week's TNA Impact show. Plus, Vince McMahon's crazy idea for Ronda Rousey at the 2022 Royal Rumble has been revealed. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the final boss. The Rock is set to return to WWE programming. Now, amongst the chaos of the road to WrestleMania 41 and the rapidly approaching WWE Elimination Chamber, it seems as though the hits won't be stopping anytime soon, as The Rock is set to make his return to programming on tonight's edition of WWE SmackDown. Now, The Rock posted this on social media, confirming the news, saying, "Bold and disruptive, unpredictable and dangerous," he wrote on his X and Instagram accounts. The final boss returns live on SmackDown tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on USA Network. Now, a press release sent out by WWE shortly after confirmed the news, with part of it reading, quote, "Strap in," said WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque. "When the final boss shows up at this time of year, the audience knows absolutely anything is possible and everything could change in an instant." Now, The Rock's last WWE television appearance came on the NXT New Year's Eve television special on January 7th, joining his daughter and NXT General Manager Ava backstage before discussing his long history with Cody Rhodes and his excitement on being on the brand for the first time in front of a live crowd. However, it could have more ramification when it comes to WrestleMania, because interestingly, prior to this announcement being made by the final boss yesterday, he actually had posted something on his Instagram page talking about putting things off, but then deciding to do it and it being day one. And some people think he was talking about a possible showdown with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Take a look.
Thanking God for this blessing of just a beautiful day. And it reminded me of this philosophy that I want to share with you guys that I think about. I don't think about it every day, but I do think about it a lot. It's a philosophy of one day as opposed to day one. So the idea is, what is that thing that's been gnawing at our gut that we wanted to do, wanted to accomplish? What's that goal? What's that mountain we've wanted to climb, the mountain we've wanted to move, the mountain we've wanted to create? What is it? Is it a job you wanted to get? Is it a raise? Is it a promotion? Is it something in school? Is it self-care, self-help? Is it getting in the best shape of your life? Is it understanding your body more? What is it? What is that thing? Is it a relationship? Is there someone you've always wanted to talk to? Someone you've always wanted to get to know? Is it kids? Whatever it is. I love that kids part. Is my favorite, because it means just, practicing, which is always the most important thing. But the idea is that one day, one day I'll do that thing that I've always wanted to do. I'll do it one day. We do that. I'm guilty of that shit all the time. I'll do it one day. Or you make the commitment now and you say, this is day one. This is day one that I'm going to do that thing. And the reason why it's appropriate, I woke up this morning, not only giving thanks to this beautiful day, but also there's been a thing or two in my life that it's been in the one day camp. It's kind of just been hanging out in the one day. I'll do that thing one day. I woke up this morning and I said, fuck that. Today is day one. I am on a mission to get this particular thing done, and I'm going to get it done. I do believe that when we put that kind of action out there, when you put that kind of energy out there in the world, that the universe works on our behalf. It meets us halfway. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, a higher power, maybe you don't. But I do believe action begets action. So think about that for a second. Is today that day where you go, Or you continue to go, one day I'll do that thing. Or is today that day where you go, today's the day. Today's day one.
Now, was it day one for that? We'll let you know in a future video. Now, let's talk about the ratings for Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Now, Wednesday night's episode of AEW Dynamite averaged 563,000 viewers on TBS, down 2.8% from last week. It's the lowest viewership total for the show since November 27th. Dynamite drew a 0.17 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. That's up 6.3% from last week's number, but ties the third lowest rating the show has done in that category since the November 27th episode, which was Thanksgiving Eve. Now, neither the overall viewership nor the 18 to 49 rating includes viewers streaming the show live on Max. There was no major sports competition, with both the NBA and NHL on a break from regular season games. As compared to the same week in 2024, Dynamite's overall viewership was down 32%, while its 18 to 49 rating was down 41.4%. Now, switching over to TNA, because a former WWE superstar has signed with the promotion. Joe Hendry's championship concert was once again interrupted on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact Live, with the Colones, that being Primo and Epico, aka Eddie Colon and Orlando Colon, interrupting. The Colones were looking to gang up on Hendry, but Elijah, formerly Elias in WWE, made his TNA debut and made the save for the TNA World Champion. Elijah played his guitar on the way to the ring, then joined Hendry in the ring for a song. Santina Marella announced that Hendry and Elijah would face the Colones later in the show, with Hendry and Elijah emerging victorious. Now, when it comes to his actual status moving forward, TNA is now walking with Elijah. The former Elias debuted for TNA on the live edition of Impact in Orlando on February 20th. Fightful Select had debunked rumors recently that he had signed with AEW/Ring of Honor, and actually noted in that report that TNA had interest in bringing him in. Not only did TNA bring him in, Fightful Select has confirmed that Elijah has indeed signed with TNA Wrestling. Now, as for why Elijah filmed that vignette with the Righteous recently, who still appeared to be under AEW/Ring of Honor contracts, Fightful Select say they don't know. They've not wrestled in a while, but they're working to find out more details on that one. The crossover between WWE and TNA Wrestling continues because Obafemi has crossed the line. NXT champion Obafemi made an appearance on TNA Impact Live on February 20th, taking out the System, that being Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and JDC, as Moose bailed on his teammates. Femi made the save for the Hardys and Leon Slater. The System helped JDC defeat Slater in a no disqualification match. The Hardys tried to make the save for Slater, but were outnumbered until Femi appeared. Of course, Femi was confronted by TNA X Division champion Moose on Tuesday's episode of NXT. Now, we continue to see NXT influence on last night's broadcast on Access TV. Cora Jade appeared in the original home of the NXT brand, Full Sail University, as part of the February 20th episode of TNA Impact. She jumped Masha Slamovich, who had just finished abruptly appearing in a match that was originally scheduled for Tessa Blanchard. Jade left the current TNA Knockouts World Champion laid out in the middle of the ring, then went up the ramp and let Blanchard know she wasn't concerned with her. Cora Jade has been appearing on recent episodes of TNA Impact. She scored a couple of wins, including one over Xia Brookside. Now she will appear at TNA Sacrifice in a match for the Knockouts World Championship. You can see the graphic on the screen right there. Cora Jade will get her shot at the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Masha Slamovich at TNA Sacrifice. TNA Director of Authority Santina Marella and NXT TNA Concierge Ariana Grace made the match official on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact. Jade has been targeting Masha since TNA Genesis when she confronted the TNA Knockouts World Champion. So that match is confirmed for the upcoming event. Nick Nemeth, he'll also be making his return at the upcoming TNA special. Nick Nemeth will make his return to TNA Wrestling at TNA Sacrifice. Ryan Nemeth made sure to inform fans of the news on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact. Nemeth, of course, was suspended by Santina Marella for 4 weeks on the February 13th episode of TNA Impact after hitting him with a super kick. Wes Lee will continue the NXT crossover at Sacrifice as well, because several NXT wrestlers will be in action at the show. After the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, with the help of Ace Austin, defeated NXT's Tyson DuPont and Tariq on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact, Wes Lee, who is mentoring the two young NXT superstars, challenged Austin, Miguel and Wentz to a 6-man tag team match set to take place at TNA Sacrifice. The match was later made official for Friday, March 14th. Of course, as I mentioned, there'll be heavy NXT influence on that event as well. Now, did AJ Francis troll the audience, but also give a hint as to what's to come in the future? AJ Francis and Casey Navarro hosted the season premiere of First Class Penthouse on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact Live. The show featured a handful of social media influencers, Bob Saget in an old TikTok video, but not AJ Styles. Francis teased having the greatest performer in TNA history who is phenomenal with a lot of style before introducing AJ Francis. AJ said the other guy left TNA to make money at the other place while he left the other place to save TNA. Of course, AJ Styles is a TNA original, and many have hoped to see him cross over once again as part of this working relationship between WWE and TNA Wrestling. Now, several matches and segments have been confirmed for next week's episode of TNA Impact on Access TV. NXT champion Obafemi will compete next Thursday on TNA Impact, teaming with TNA World Tag Team Champions Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy to take on the System's Moose, Brian Myers, and Eddie Edwards. Plus, Tessa Blanchard will be forced to compete on the show, or she will be fired. She was scheduled to compete on the February 20th episode of TNA Impact, but said she couldn't get cleared for the event. So, of course, we get any more details on that, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. Finally, a crazy story when it comes to Vince McMahon and Ronda Rousey. Now, we brought you the story yesterday. There has been some frustration within the women's ranks in WWE. On Fightful Select's Discord, they answered a question about that frustration. They were asked about it on this week's episode of The Hump as well. We spoke about this yesterday. Now, in the podcast, Sean Ross Sapp noted that the frustration was nothing even resembling major low points, with the Royal Rumble in 2022 cited as an example of a low point for the women's division. A number of readers asked specifically why that event and why that match was cited. Now, one particular of note that was widely respected producer TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd, he actually walked away for a period of time ahead of that Royal Rumble. One of the reasons that they were given Fightful as to why he walked away was the vision Vince McMahon had was so off the wall there was trouble coexisting with it. Fightful are told that this and other things led to Wilson taking time away and WWE calling in Fit Finlay to help produce the match. Now, Fightful have recently learned that at one point in the early planning stages of the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble that Vince McMahon had pitched to have Ronda Rousey eliminate the entire field of the Royal Rumble in what would be her first match in over 2.5 years. Fightful have been told that early on, Vince was very steadfast in wanting to do something like this because they had Rousey on full-time, an advanced schedule for all of 2022. Eventually, Rousey was brought back, entered at number 28, spent 10 minutes in the match, eliminated 4 people and won. Now, Sasha Banks / Mercedes Moné had been pitched by many others as the potential winner for that year. There was also reportedly frustration with Vince McMahon over, as the vast majority of the cameos had no real plan, and McMahon had instructed them to get in and get out. Summer Rae, Sarah Logan, Cameron, Kelly, Melina, Molly Holly, and Ivory all spent a minute or less in the match. At least 4 cameos WWE had planned for that year rejected WWE's overtures to be in the Rumble. This included the likes of Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, and Nia Jax. At least one cited TJ Wilson's lack of involvement as a reason why they didn't want to get involved in that Rumble. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.